Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. I am back using these molds. I will link the video here if you missed it. 2 videos back, I used these island silicone molds. I bought them from Amazon. It was a set of 3. I only made 2 in that video, and I wasn't 100% happy with the results. The blue resin had turned green against the yellow sand, of course, and I just I felt like I wanted a different result, a more clear result. I wanted to be able to see the ledges and the multi-layers of the terrain section of this mold. Now, I am using several things in this video. First and foremost, I tried these small abalone shell pieces. I'm also using the sand I got from Amazon. This is the aquatic sand for your fish tanks. On the right hand side, you've got the white quartz, and on the left, you've just got a darker yellow sand. Again, these are for your fish tanks, but I figured, hey, they were so cheap on Amazon, so easy to use in epoxy resin, and I'm in love with the quartz. The resin I'm using is the Let's Resin epoxy, and of course my PPE is on. I've got my gloves and my mask. Now, much like the last video, the first layer is the sand. So these molds are a 2-part mold system. You do one side first, and then you demold and you place it in the other side to fill them up 24 hours later. So first up, we've got the sand. Guys, I'm so obsessed with this quartz sand. I can't explain it. It's just stunning. It is the perfect shade of tropical. And when you add the epoxy resin into it, it doesn't get darker. And a lot of sands I felt did. Whereas this one stays pale, it stays light, and it definitely gives me that kind of tropical sand, you know, the white sand feel. Although you can buy white sand from Amazon as well, so that is definitely a purchase I shall be making soon. Now, like I said, these are a 2-part system. You've got the terrain, you've got the ledges, the multi-layers of the first section. That's what we're filling up right now. And then you've got the empty section. So that stays empty until tomorrow when we demold and place this section in the other section. I mentioned in the last video I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to get these back in, but oh my gosh, they just went in like a dream. Usually when you take a mold out and you've got those whole sections, those long sections, you know, really hard to thread them back together, but oh my gosh, yeah, worked a dream. I am wondering, you know, looking at this video, I am wondering whether the hole on the terrain section is slightly wider than the hole on the final finished piece, and that might explain why they just slotted back together like an absolute dream. So back to the video. Like I said, first layer is going down. This is the lighter sand. This is the surface. When we demold, this will be the surface color, and then the deeper sand is going to be the dark yellow. So that's going to represent, I guess, deeper ocean and the more wet sand. So yeah, that's where my thought processes were going. Now you can do anything with these molds. I have seen results where people brush this section with chameleon powder, chameleon flakes, mica powder, different colored powders for the ledges. So each individual ledge has got a different color on it. You know, I've seen this done with the rainbows. So the rainbow colors. So you've got your red, green, blue, orange, yellow in there, all different layers. Like there really are a lot of possibilities. It doesn't have to be ocean themed as well. And also I said in the last video that the empty blank sections make perfect molds on their own. You don't have to use the terrain section. So anyways, back to the video. The darker sand is going on, so you will just see this coming through at the base of the mold. So this is 24 hours later and it is time to demold, and I am so happy with these results. I put a lot more of that quartz sand in this time, and I think that's what I really, really wanted last time. So it's a lot lighter than the previous video. Now, the only thing to do here is just level off the hole, because, you know, resin will stick up the sides of it. So I'm just using my deburring tool to level it off so that when I place it back down in, it sits nice and flush, and again, it does. It worked like a dream. I didn't use this one in the last video, so I was intrigued to see how this one would work. There was a lot more blank space to fill with the rectangular one, but again, they all slotted back in so nicely. And I don't know what it is about these molds, but they're a little bit obsessive. I can see me wanting to do these over and over and over with a multitude of different things placed in. But the teardrop mold for me is my favorite shape here. Like, I'm such a circle girl, but this teardrop mold is definitely my favorite shape of all three. There's just there's something so aesthetic about it. Aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, all of the bits and bobs are back in. Now here is where we went on a bit of a journey, a bit of a change my mind every 2 seconds journey. Now, my plan was to lay some UV resin down. At this point, I thought, do you know what? UV resin's going to work for me right now. I don't want much of a base layer in these. I just want this empty cavity section to be blue. That's it. The rest is going to be clear. So I really didn't want to make up some epoxy resin just for this teeny tiny little section. So UV resin has gone down. And it was at this point I decided I was definitely going to use those abalone shells. Now, so many people, I made a video using these once and I had a lot of comments saying these aren't abalone. These are just whatever you want to call them. That's what we'll call them. So whatever you want to say these are, that's what we'll go with. They are tiny shell fragments and I wanted them even tinier because they were too big for what I wanted. So I'm just using the bottom of my deburring tool and crushing them into much smaller, manageable pieces that are gonna fit this section. Now, my plan was here to have a solid base of these, and that proved a lot more difficult. Getting them in was fiddly, filling the gap was fiddly, and I also didn't want any clear resin. I didn't want any transparency at all. I want this to be a solid block of blue. And I realised that I would need to lay down so many pieces for that to happen. I've already put in quite a lot. And I kept going to try and completely fill the gap. But it wasn't the right blue for me. It wasn't the right blue. I wasn't feeling it, you know? So I decided at this point to add in some glitter. Now, this is Hemway glitter. And I wanted to then cover up the sections that were left by the abalone shell. It wasn't the right blue. I wasn't feeling it in my soul. So I went with this Hemway glitter and it was immediately better. I felt immediately like, yes. This is it. This is the colour I want. Equally, it wasn't covering like I wanted it to cover. So I had to put another layer of UV resin in there and get some more glitter in there. Equally, I'm also putting this under the UV lamp to get these areas cured. So I was a lot happier using the Hemway darker blue glitter. Now for this one, I did the same, but I chose a different glitter. This glitter is stunning. It's called Mermaid Glitter, and I figured I would just do the same. I will put a thin layer of UV resin down because the rest is going to be filled up clear, and I will simply pour this glitter in for a better coverage. My brain was saying if I just throw it in, like, I will get a complete coverage. But it was an immediate no. Immediately. It's beautiful glitter. It was stunning in the bottle, but it's not the right blue. It's almost invisible. It's just much of a nothing. It's meh against nothing, you know? It's not stand out enough. It's not going to show off enough. I want it to be sublime. I want it to be like a wow when you look at it. So for the third one, the circle one, again changed my mind. I went with a simple blue glitter from Hemway. And this is a fine, I think it's, can I read that? Baby blue. Baby blue fine glitter from Hemway. I'm simply pouring it all over the UV resin, straight under the UV lamp. And this is what they're looking like cured. I wasn't happy with the rectangle. Wasn't happy at all. Again, nothing against the glitter. But it just doesn't work here. This one works a lot better. But none of them are the right blue for me. I'm not feeling it. I decided to grab my J Diction UV glitter resin. something maybe I should have just done in the first place. This was an immediate yes, please. Oh, yes, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been searching for. This immediately made me say out loud, yes, this is the one. This is what we want. We want this blue. However, it's stunning because I laid glitter down underneath. We've still got the ability to see that. You can see it right here. Oh my gosh, so much better. So much better. I was excited at this point. But I'm glad I went through the steps I went through because it still shows off the stunning, stunning glitter I used underneath. So we've even got more depth. We've got the right blue now. We've got the right blue, but we've still got, look at that rectangle. We can still see those chunky hunks of that Hemway glitter. So I was happy at this point. I'm just spreading out this UV blue glitter resin from J Diction with my micro brush, making sure that it has got into all of those nooks and crannies. And we've got a solid blue, beautiful, shimmery, sun-kissed bottom of the ocean vibe. And before I put them under the UV lamp. Once I've done all this, it took a minute, it did take a minute, but once I have done all this, I do pop them under the UV lamp and yeah, we'll have a look at what they look like. The UV lamp I'm using is the double-sided UV lamp from Let's Resin. Now this really is important at this point. You don't need to have the machine. I mean, it's just really important that you cure both sides. Now guys, we are scuba diving our way through the ocean in today's video. So in the last video, I just put sharks, but I was fully inspired by scuba divers because A, I've seen images online. Of course, this is not my original idea. B, my husband's daughter is a scuba diver, so I'm sure she will love these as well. First up, we have got this shark. Now, this is an image of a scuba diver swimming way too close to a shark for my liking. Would you get me down there? Absolutely not. And then it was just placement. So I've used black permanent vinyl on my Cricut design space. I typed in scuba diver and these are the images that came up for me. And I have shrunk them down to around 2 centimeters in length, maximum 2 centimeters in length. I wasn't worried about the depth of them, just the length of them to make sure that they would definitely fit in these molds and they wouldn't dominate, they wouldn't take over. It would give us this magical look. This little guy is my favorite. I've already fallen in love with this one. It's just a simple scuba diver on their own, silhouette of a scuba diver. Now, this mold here didn't really fit the scuba diver aesthetic. I've just put in a turtle. I did cut out 3 turtles, but I just felt like this mold wasn't big enough for 2. I just put 1 in. And this guy here, oh, I say guy, could be anyone, you know, it doesn't have to be a guy, but love. At this point, I'm filling them up with UV resin, but I'm just doing thin layers. I don't want these to get warped in any way by using a really thick, deep pour of UV. I'm just pouring in thin layers to get these cured, and I'm already in love. Like, I'm already so mesmerized by the way the blue has turned out. The fact that I went through the stages of not liking every layer, and when I finally found something I liked, all of those layers have come through to make it even more gorgeous. Final layer of UV resin going on right now. I'm trying my best to not have any bubbles in these whatsoever, and with the UV resin it's so fast as well, so fast. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking at this point. If you love the scuba diver idea, look at the teeny tiny little scuba diver in this one. Like, it's ridiculously tiny. I love it. Had a few issues though, but nothing that has taken away from the final pieces. I'm using my micro brush to rub the UV resin in and around all of those ledges. Those ledges are 90-degree sharp angles, so I don't want any air pockets caught, and I'm just rubbing my brush around, but I can feel the terrain coming out, protruding out. So at this point I was worried that the mold was warping, that it was bending somehow. UV resin can do that. It can bend your pieces, and I felt like the rectangular was definitely getting bent. I already knew that this piece here was my least favourite just because of its plainness and simplicity, and the chunky glitter on the other two is coming through, and I love that. Whereas the round one, I just used a plain blue, and it didn't have the same wow, it didn't have the same impact. So again, just using the micro brush to go in and around the edges. And guys, oh my gosh, the results of these are absolutely wow. Now, I cured, double cured, triple cured, and quadruple cured these under my UV lamp. You don't have to, but I just wanted to make sure everything was cured. So I did a good 20 minutes in the double-sided, pressing the button 4 times, 5 minutes per time. I just kept them in there because I thought, you know what, was the harm? Make sure they're fully cured. Now, as I said earlier, the circle is not for me, but guys, look at these results. Oh my goodness me. And the black rope set these off. Perfection. Couple of things. I don't like the way the UV resin has domed up. Now, again, that's me doing that. I've done that. I've created a dome with the UV resin. I prefer much the flat results from epoxy resin, but this one here, oh my gosh, there's something about it. The simplicity of it. If you've got a scuba diver friend or you like the ocean, or this is beautiful. The rectangle has to be my absolute favorite result when it comes to the shimmer of that ocean. Putting in that chunky glitter first and then the UV blue has given it a depth I could have never even expected or tried to achieve. Now, they have all got an area of transparency. I don't like it. I'm not trying to downplay what I've done. I'm not trying to find a negative. I'm just saying, if I did this again, I would try to absolutely eliminate that area of transparency. But does that transparency add to the lightness of it? I think so. Maybe if they were just block opaque, like putting my hand over, I don't know if you'd get the magic, but I feel like you would see more. You'd see more of that glitter. When I put my hand underneath, you can definitely see more. Now, this happened. It's bowed. I don't know if it's my eyes deceiving me. Can you guys see it? Let me know in the comment section. I don't know if it's just the way the blue glitter has gone in, bowed, or whether the whole thing has bowed. But I do definitely feel like it's not as flat as it could be. And you can see at the bottom, this section here is digging out of the top. So again, I think because I've used UV with this one, it has bowed it. This one's cute and all, but it's my least favourite result. I can't really see the ledges on this one. They're not as clear. I think that's key here. None of these ledges are as clear as I expected them to be, but that rectangle, oh, that rectangle is stunning. Absolutely stunning. But my favourite piece in total has to be the teardrop. There is something so simple, something just so aesthetically beautiful. A simple scuba diver doing their thing in a cave. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the fact that I used the chunky Hemway first and then the UV blue glitter from J Diction. Oh my gosh, what a result that I couldn't have even imagined because it wasn't part of the plan. So if I did this again, I would do the same. I think I might use epoxy resin though. I think to get the results I want, you're talking about a 3 to 4 day process with epoxy resin. I'm not loving the results from the UV. However, they're still stunning. I hope this is inspiring for you guys. I hope you like the second result that I got because I am so much more in love with it than the first. I've got a lot more clear resin in there. I can see the ledges, but I can't see the ledges as much as I thought I'd be able to see the ledges, if that makes sense. Anyway, I hope you feel inspired and I will see you all in the next video, and thanks for watching yet again. I appreciate you all. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so. If you like my content, please think about subscribing and hanging around. I will see you next time. Bye.